Just reading my Melchizedek book here, and it's talking about geometry and stuff. But I remembered a topic that I wanted to talk about, and that topic is wait, what was it again? um, oh yeah, okay. So it was the difference between like four or different ways of thinking, I guess. And I think there's been like Metatron, when Nilesh first channeled Metatron, he talks about a war between reptilians and Pleiadians. And I think it has to do with this concept, and that's the concept of thinking that you can control reality versus you're part of a collective, and you're from in the collective perspective is the only way to be, and that's why in that channeling Metatron, basically he was one of the reptilians, but they basically get vaporized by these Pleiadians because these Pleiadians use and channel this magic, quote unquote, that is from a collective perspective. And I've been experiencing that and I'm very sensitive to energy, so I can feel the difference between the two, and it's very important. I think a lot of people that have schizophrenia, and I've been in states like that before too, where I hear voices and whatnot. It really just takes a lot of meditation to block all that out, and grounding, and but you have to change your perspective of reality. And if you think that you're the one in control, then you get stuck in this lower version of what reality is. And instead of observing, you kind of let your paranoia manifest things around you. And I've been there. But recently I was actually shown by Archangel Michael. He took me, and when I was going into the state of mind where I was the one in control and I was the one manipulating and controlling this entire reality and entire space, he took me and led me down these stairs. Like it was going from the fifth dimension into the lower fourth, and maybe even into the third at some point. Probably just the fourth. But he literally put me into a cage, and this cage manifested. It was like I could feel this energy. It was like I could see the higher dimensional viewpoint of what this was, and it was a cage. It was a literal cage. But in this physical reality where I'm like shaking my head here, it manifested, I think, as like an energy screen, or it kind of like I had that perception and I could manifest, but it manifested as like this really uncomfortable like fear sensation, and I guess it was, and Archangel Michael can save you from that place whenever you want, but you have to change your perspective on reality and realize that the collective is the most important thing. And yeah, so it was like this red screen almost that I could see. I could like close my eyes and see all this distorted, chaotic red energy that was around me, and that was the cage, And but that people say like hell isn't, and channelers say that hell isn't a real place. It's just a creation of your own mind, and that's basically what it was, is like it was like Archangel Michael leading me there, but it was myself putting myself there. And that's what that state of mind manifests. It manifests a hell, like where you become Satan, you become the controller of your own reality, and you think that you have control over all of the other beings in that reality too. And it just takes, and that's what it does. It manifests a state of paranoia and a state of chaos and a state of fear, and it all comes from not being a part of the collective. My journey when I woke up for the first time when I was 19, it manifested into, I mean, I immediately knew that I could change the reality around me, and because of that, I kind of was in this state like, oh, I'm kind of like the only real person in this reality because I'm the one manifesting it, and you have manifestation abilities, and you can manipulate manipulate the matrix. But when you start thinking that you have control over other people, over other divine souls and divine beings, that's when you really get locked. You lock yourself in that cage, you know. And yeah, you just have to persevere and convince yourself and stay grounded. And that's why like people bash on medication, but when you're in that type of state of mind and you've been there for so long, like I've seen like crackheads or crazy people on the side of the street that looks like they've been in that frame of mind for 15 years, and they like smoke crack or whatever, and they're still in that state of mind. Well, I think in that case, medication would be a good option. And I've gone on medication before, but the medication does also affect your energy bodies a lot, like very heavily, and to do it through meditation is a lot better. And like when thoughts come up that you're the one in control, or you're putting bad energy into people and manipulating them in some way, you have to be observing that every single time, and you have to train yourself and let Archangel Michael know that you want to be a part of the collective. And I spoke with him about it, and he said, Dr. Stephen Greer, if you guys are familiar with him, he developed this chant that it basically signifies like the drop becomes the ocean. And that's so many spiritual leaders talk about that. It's like once you merge with the ocean of awareness and merge with the ocean of consciousness, which everyone has inside of them, you know, you recognize that you become one with the all, and the all becomes one with you, and you're not the one in control, or you're not the one that has power over everyone else anymore. And it's such a beautiful thing. It's like a breath of fresh air when you breach the top of the ocean wave, you know, after being underwater. And you just take a deep breath, and like I'm feeling it right now, because that sensation is such a good one to feel, becoming one, or realizing that you're not the controller anymore. It's beautiful. But yeah, just persevering and observing those thoughts and telling yourself no every time. But Greer has this chant, and it goes, I'm Nama. And I mixed that with a Merkaba meditation a long time ago, where you go, I'm Nama, and you create a triangle like, I'm Nama. Both my hands are tied. I got my hand around my Melchizedek book right now. But yeah, you chant I'm Nama, and that basically signifies that you want to merge into the all. You recognize that the true way of life is to be a part of the collective, and to serve other people, to serve your brothers and sisters, to serve God. And serving that consciousness, that conscious awareness is God, you know. And doing that, you signal to the archangels that you want to be let out of that cage of your own mind, and they'll help you, and they'll lead you to safety, and you lead yourself to safety as well. It's like a merging of the divine and your own free will, you know. And that was in a channeling that I watched recently. It was like this universe is a manifestation of the divine will, your own free will, and karma. And that, based off of those three things, you kind of you have life choices and life experiences. And once your will is fully merged with the divine will, you have better and better experiences. And that divine will, you establish that at the beginning of your life as well. And that's what that channel said. And it sounds perfect, sounds spot on. That you decide your life path, and if you go off of that path into these types of like satanic mindsets, then things become chaotic immediately, you know. And because you're steering away from your true calling and the divine plan that you laid out for yourself at the beginning of your life. and you have worse and worse experiences the farther and farther you get away from that, but the closer and closer you get, and eventually you merge completely with that, then the better and better you feel on a daily basis, and the better and better your life plays out as. So yeah, it's that right there is probably one of the most important things that I've come to realize. And for people trapped in that, I know that feeling, and that it's so strong and it's so hard to get over. But things like grounding, staying grounded, grounding is so important. Getting your root chakra planted on the ground, and really focusing your attention and filling that root chakra, so you get out of your head and get into your lower chakras, because when you're in that panic state of mind, it's like bringing your root chakra is depleted. And that was the first time, or in India, when I had this crystal healing session by this guru guy. He told me that my root chakra was at like 10%, and that's what happens. Like, you manifest fear and paranoia when your root chakra is like destroyed, basically, because you're not in that mindset, and you're up in your head, and you don't have a firm base. You're not grounded whatsoever. So that mindset of paranoia and fear really, really manifests. So yeah, watch my root chakra video and my chakras video, and but again, you have to observe every time that your mind wants to tell you you have control. And an easy way to get out of that is by grounding yourself with your root chakra. Also, if you've been in that state for such a long time, medication for maybe like a couple months is a really good option too, because then you can get grounded and feel that feeling again of being part of the collective, which is really good for you. So yeah, guys, peace, thumbs up, give me a thumbs up. Bye, guys, love ya.